Sometimes cooking can start to feel like another job in the day. Another thing to plan, another thing to organise, another thing that has to happen no matter how tired you are. And when you have young children, it can feel even more complicated. You start preparing something in the kitchen and suddenly someone needs your help, or wants to be picked up, or becomes very interested in everything happening on the bench. For a long time, I felt like cooking and motherhood were almost competing with each other. Like I needed to find ways to get meals done quickly or efficiently or somehow without interruption. But over time, I've realized something quite simple. The kitchen doesn't have to sit outside the rhythm of the day. It can actually become part of it. On the day of filming, we were making granola. This is one of the breakfasts that returns regularly in our home. It's simple, it keeps well in a jar, and once it's made, breakfast for the next week feels much easier. And as you can see, it's really something I do alone. Children naturally come alongside the work of the home. They watch, they stir, they pour things, sometimes very enthusiastically, and they always taste things. It doesn't always make the process faster, but it does change the feeling of it. Instead of trying to cook around my children, they simply become part of the life of the kitchen. The night before, we had roasted 2 chickens at once. This is another small thing that has made cooking feel lighter. If we're roasting 1 chicken, it takes almost the same effort to roast 2. And doing that means the next day already has something prepped. So on this particular afternoon, dinner was already partially done, which meant I had the freedom to use the afternoon for something else. We had a big harvest of tomatoes from the garden that needed using. So while the chickens had taken care of part of dinner, I spent some time roasting those tomatoes slowly in the oven to turn them into passata. That kind of kitchen work used to feel like something extra. Another thing to squeeze into an already full day. But when meals start to repeat and the kitchen falls into rhythm, those things often find their place naturally. Dinner doesn't have to start from scratch every evening. Sometimes it's simply a continuation of something that began the day before. That evening's meal ended up being a very simple and family favourite, my sister-in-law's Thai noodle salad, using the leftover chicken. Nothing complicated, just something fresh and easy that used what we already had prepared. And I've noticed that when meals begin to repeat like this, the mental load of cooking becomes much lighter. You're not constantly deciding what to make next. You're simply working with what's already part of the rhythm of your home. This is where repetition becomes really powerful. For a long time, I thought meals needed variety, that breakfast should be different each week, that dinners need to feel interesting or new. But children actually thrive on repetition. They feel secure when things return. And meals are one of the simplest ways to let that happen. The same breakfast appearing again. The same soup coming back each week. A few familiar dinners rotating through the month. Instead of feeling boring, those meals begin to anchor the day. Children absorb that rhythm too. They see the same work happening in the kitchen. They watch ingredients coming out onto the bench. They know that meals appear at familiar times. And over time, those patterns begin to feel very natural to them. They don't see cooking as a separate task. They simply see it as part of how the home moves through the day. Something else I notice that changes when meals repeat is the number of decisions I have to make. So much of motherhood is decision making. What to cook, when to cook, what ingredients you need, what everyone might eat. When meals begin to repeat, many of those decisions quietly disappear. Breakfast returns each morning, a few familiar dinners rotate through the week, and suddenly the kitchen feels calmer. For me, that has been one of the most surprising gifts of rhythm. Not that life becomes perfectly organised, but that certain parts of the day stop needing to be reinvented. Meals return, the same small tasks appear again, and the familiarity creates steadiness in our home. When people talk about rhythm in family life, it can sometimes sound like something structured or carefully planned. But I've found that some of the strongest rhythms grow out of very ordinary things. Breakfast appearing each morning. Lunch being prepared at a familiar time. Dinner slowly coming together while children play nearby or participate. These small repetitions create a feeling of predictability in our day. And children respond to that more than I realise sometimes. The kitchen becomes one of those places where that rhythm lives most clearly. Not because the cooking is elaborate, but because it happens regularly, and because Children are often right there beside us while it happens. They see the work, they join in when they can, and slowly they begin to feel that rhythm as part of their day too. So over time, I realised that cooking doesn't have to compete with motherhood. It can sit right alongside it. My child can be part of that work. Meals can repeat, and the kitchen can become one of the quiet anchors of our home. If you're wanting help creating that kind of gentle rhythm in your home, I have a free guide called How to Create a Gentle Weekly Rhythm Without Strict Schedules. It walks through a simple way to begin shaping the flow of your days without needing to plan everything perfectly. You can find it linked below if that would be helpful for you. And as always, thank you for being here and spending a little time in our home. See you next week, friends.